Good evening, and welcome to A Cool and Lonely Courage. This is a story game about the Special Orders Executive Operations Executive, which was a British unit. This particular group of people in the SOE are composed of women who were sent to France to be radio operators and couriers and work with the resistance. It didn't really end well for a lot of them, and for our three characters tonight in particular, it is not going to end well, probably. But people may live, so it'll be good. I have a wonderful cast, and let's just introduce ourselves real quick. I'm Cat Ramen. I got to playtest this game at Metatopia, and Alex asked if I would playtest it for him with other people. So here are some other people we're going to playtest it. Why don't we go with David, who is a veteran of my Kingsport series, so it's good to see him back.
Hi, yeah, it's good to be back as well. Yeah, I'm David. I'm based in the UK. It's quite early in the morning here at the minute, so this should be fun. It'll help get in the wartime spirit, I think.
Yeah, and it definitely helps us with our authenticity. So next up, why don't we go to Diana?
Hi, I go by Diana Moon online. I'm in the West Coast of America, and I'm excited to play this.
And last but not least, Peter.
Hey, I'm Peter. You see him pronouns and all that. And I am also on the West Coast, so it's nice, but it's getting darker, which I'm sure this will.
Oh, so we have a nice little transatlantic alliance thing going here. We've got the East and West Coast of America and the UK. This is like we're just starting this all over again. So cool. This game is kind of simple. We will draw a card randomly at the start of a scene, at the start of the 6 scenes of the game. Hold on 1 second. My cat has decided to claim some real estate that he's not allowed to have. And that will set the tone based on the suit of the card for the scene. So if we draw a heart, that means that the scene will involve love in some way. If we draw diamonds, something successful will happen for the resistance. If we get a club, it's something misfortunate for the resistance. And if we get a spades, somebody's going to die, probably one of the secondary characters, because our characters have to live long enough to be arrested by the Gestapo. So cool. So there are 5 scenes, and then the last use of the cards is to figure out your fate. The 5 scenes are arrival, mission, interlude, capture, and prison, which is the last bit. So fun. Why don't we just step right through to character generation, which is basically done by some questions. So I suppose the best thing right now is for folks to take a couple minutes and maybe come up with a name for their character. Why don't we do the stuff right on the top, which can go pretty quickly. So name and nationality, and we can figure out the code name unless you know a code name right away. The code name has to be a French first name. I have a French names reference, and there's one in the playtest rules, but I also know a lot of French names, so you can just ask me. So get those 3, and then we'll start talking about some of these questions and see what people have to think.
So funny thing is, after reading this last night, I went searching, and Mexico and Brazil were the only Latin American countries that went to World War II.
Huh. Ahead of the United States?
No, not. I don't think ahead of it, but like, they were just as reluctant as everybody else was. America's side was. But yeah, they were the only Latin American countries, and honestly, that makes sense because they're the only countries that would have had enough firepower without all the infighting.
Right.
In America, it was mostly Puerto Ricans that went to fight with the Americans.
Huh. That's
They
neat.
even had their own battalion.
No, I don't think I knew that. That's cool. Okay, cool. So, it looks like we have some names and nationalities chosen. So let's take a second. Why don't we introduce these characters by their name at least? So and their nationality. So yeah, why don't we go with you, Peter? You're still muted, Peter.
I knew that. I was just doing this for effect. Oh boy. Okay. So the character I'm making is named Emma Riley. Her nationality is English.
And David?
I'm going to be playing Maggie Porter. She's also English.
A name like Maggie Porter is super English. And Diana?
My character is Esperanza Martinez, and she is Mexican.
Excellent. This will be interesting. Cool. So the first question that we have to figure out about these characters is, how come you speak French? Everybody in the SOE had to speak French well enough that they could pass for native. So there are some suggestions, such as you are French and escaped to England. Your mother is French, and I learned it growing up. I went to convent school in France. My family holidayed in France. I lived and worked in France before the war, or I'm married to a Frenchman. So these are all some ideas.
I think I might actually go for being married to a Frenchman, and I will probably actually pick a French surname as well to.
Très bien.
After a little thought, I think I might change my character name and nationality just to jostle things up a bit.
Very good.
So, okay, I'm gonna. So the new name I went with, just so you're aware, is Holly Barnes. And I'm going with American.
American or Canadian?
Canadian. Thank you. Thank you for that. I will definitely take that.
I would once again express my extreme admiration and respect for our comrades across the border to the north. Seriously, man, everybody that fights the British Empire, they all like, don't mess with the Canadians. You do not want to mess with the Canadians.
All right. Yeah. Let's just. There we
Yeah, that works.
go. Okay.
Cool.
Yeah. Cool. Now I'm much happier with that. Because before I was like, I like this, and now I'm like, oh yes, I'm fully down. Yes.
Okay, and Holly, pourquoi parlez-vous français?
My family holidayed in France all the time, and I learned over there. Also, I feel like it stands to reason if I'm Canadian that I also learn some of it that way.
Yeah, that's definitely a possibility, especially depending where you lived. It's weird because Montreal was actually a very Anglophone city at this point in history. It's like, yeah,
my.
it's seriously weird. Montreal was the most important city in Canada for a long time. And in this period, it was a lot more Anglophone than it is now, obviously. But, that doesn't mean that you didn't go outside the city and everybody spoke French, because that's exactly what it meant.
Right, yeah.
So, cool. And Esperanza, pourquoi parlez-vous français?
I was lucky enough to be in a rich family in Mexico, and they sent me to Covenant School.
So I feel like it's my job as facilitator to open up some more questions a bit. So Maggie, so how did you come to marry a Frenchman? How did you guys meet?
I think. I'm wondering which way round it's going to be. I think he. I think he came over to London to work probably before the war, though not necessarily much before the war. I think he was a tradesman of some sort. But yeah, so we met and married in London.
And did you already speak French, or?
Very little. But I have picked it up. Since being married to him.
Cool. Cool. And so, Holly, you holidayed in France, and you learned over there, and you probably used it at home in Canada. That seems pretty good, but So why are you in England though? I mean, there's a lot of good answers. I'm just curious about which one you want to choose. I mean, yeah.
I think it actually ties into part of my background, which is I think I was a journalist of some. I'm a journalist of some kind, and ended up just kind of crossing over there because this seemed to be where everything was happening.
That makes excellent sense. Cool. Yeah, so Esperanza, you went to convent school, and yeah, in France, in Mexico City, in Switzerland. There are many options here.
It was started in Mexico City, but she was a little bit of a firecracker. So they thought maybe being sent to France would tone her down more.
Wow.
Yeah.
Tone someone down by sending them to Paris.
Yeah.
I see flaws in this plan.
In my family's plan, in my plan, it worked out.
Okay. So how'd you come to be in England? Did you flee after the fall of France, or?
No, I was lucky enough to leave before then. Despite being sent to convent school and everything, I was chasing after a woman.
Hello.
And followed her to England.
Chasing a woman. I believe Dido wrote a song kind of like that. Fantastic. All right, so nationality name we have covered. And so, I didn't put background in this stupid thing. That's all right. We've talked a little bit about it. So it sounds like Holly's background is journalist. And now Maggie, though, were you a housewife, or were you working outside the house? Or
I probably had a job. I think probably something like a sort of shop assistant or something of that nature. Yeah. I think specific. Let's say I worked in a was a waitress in a sort of cafe prior to signing up. I think specifically I since the outbreak of war, I think that just because I really it's a really interesting thing in history. So I think I joined I'll have to check the translation of the acronym in here, but the first aid nursing yeomanry, which was was historically the only military unit in which women could hold rank in the army. Well, it's technically not in the army, but details. I think I served in there, though not actually as a nurse. I was probably an ambulance driver.
the FANY is in
That's
fact a one of the backgrounds listed. So that was great. That does seem to be a rather unfortunate acronym, though. Cool. And Esperanza, it sounds like you were still a student, right?
Yeah, student, but she did do part-time work as an interpreter.
Yeah, that makes total sense. So I guess you're
Nothing
probably
like not for like the government or anything, but like for more like local day-to-day kind of thing.
So you're probably fluent in English, Spanish, and French then.
Yeah.
Cool.
Heavy accents though, in all three. Not that I can reproduce that, but yeah.
So I don't worry about that. Yeah, but I still envy Esperanza. So trilinguality is great. I have a friend who's trilingual. It's amazing what it does to you. Cool. Oh, I did put background. Hey, I've been sick all week. Cool. Oh, I got this out of order. Here we go. So, yeah, why did you join the SOE? It's hard work and deadly. The average lifetime of a radio operator is measured in weeks. According to the material, 6 weeks if you're a radio operator in the field.
Well, I, for one, definitely thought I was going to be a typist or a translator, given my background as a journalist, and was very surprised when that turned out to be wrong.
That may well play into our next couple questions, but yeah. So you thought you were going to be handling a pen, and they handed you a Sten gun instead. So sounds like Maggie has something, yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say I've decided to go for. I want to hit back at the Nazis because of the death of someone I loved. So I think that my husband did sign up with the Free French, and had gone back over to France. Probably again, similarly to work with the resistance. Though he has been reported killed in action over there.
Oh no, that's tragic. And finally, Esperanza.
I was annoyed that Mexico was following America's lead and not getting into the war yet, and I wanted, since I was been here for a few years now and wanted to help out not just like, France, but all of Europe and do
Cool.
my part.
Cool.
Because apparently Mexico doesn't get in until way late in the war.
Yeah. Yeah, this is probably like 43. So
Yeah,
America
so
has probably just entered the war.
yeah, I think Mexico
Or
doesn't get in until 44. So
yeah, there were a lot of countries that signed when they joined the UN because the UN technically was the allies at the end. Cool. So the next question is, what did you discover you were great at during training? Um, so there are some ideas. So, oh, okay. I can't read without my glasses or with my glasses. Were you an excellent liar? A great shot? A great shot? Were you ruthless when unarmed? Did you prefer dynamite? Were you surprisingly strong? Good at disguise? Bold as brass? Cool under pressure? Did you have a commanding voice? Or were good with people? Or have gritty determination? Le clan, as our friends across the pond, across the sleeve would say.
I think Maggie is bold as brass.
Any reason for that? Is it because you had to fend off people at the calf, or?
Yeah, I think she's quite always been quite strident and self assured, and I think that's translated into sort of the her sort of military bearing as well. And there's probably also a certain amount of kind of fatalistic recklessness as well.
Nice. You're the Cockney heroine of a lot of early post-war films, I think. Excellent. So Holly, you're good with people?
Yeah. I think that between being a journalist and needing to actually be able to connect with people enough to where they're willing to talk, and also simultaneously having my Canadian background, I'm surprisingly and naturally, so I don't know if that goes together, but I'm good with people.
Cool. And how about Esperanza?
She has a very commanding voice coming from a family of like 10 siblings. You had to have a strong voice, and this kind of stereotype of Latinos being very loud mouth is very true, especially when we're angry. It's like you better listen. So she found out that that's what they needed.
This is very fair. This is very fair. Cool. Excellent. So, the next question is parallel to that. What weakness was exposed that nearly kept you out of the SOE? And it is mentioned that we can use this if you draw a club. This is a good place to go.
I think with Esperanza, it's the accent's not quite French enough because she is trilingual and she does stumble and everything.
Just have to tell everybody you're from the Pyrenees.
I was also thinking of going for the accent one because she sort of picked it up a bit later in life. But I think to change things up a bit, I'm going to take talks too much.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah. loose lips and all that.
And I went ahead and chose doesn't like telling lies. It completely ties in with the journalism background. Like all wanting to get down to the truth and wanting to speak the truth, and that gets her into some bad situations.
Nice. Cool. So the last stage of your training is when you either specialize as a wireless operator who would be sending coded messages to England to ask for money in equipment drops and receive instructions, or training as a courier who would be traveling around alone with money and secret documents. Most of the people who were sent into France as vital wireless transmitters only had a life expectancy of 6 weeks. You will still be doing all sorts of reconnaissance, espionage, and sabotage as well, but which direction did your training focus on?
So I think I'm going to go with wireless operator.
I feel like courier for Esperanza. Like she's used to talking to people and she can speak different languages, so if she needs to get through borders or to get through like areas where there's mostly more like immigrants and everything.
Yeah, there was you know, a lot of people that ended up going over the Pyrenees to Spain, which was never a combatant. So someone that can speak Spanish and French could be useful for that sort of marquee.
Yeah.
Plus, there are a lot of Spanish communists and anarchists who got out at the end of the Civil War, and a lot of them went to France. True
Yeah.
story. The longest conversation I had in a foreign language in Spain was talking in French to a French couple, the man of which was the descendant of Spanish Civil War refugees, and they were walking to San Juan de Compostela, which blew my mind because people still do that. It's amazing. Cool. And what about Maggie? Poor hapless Maggie.
Yeah, I think I'll probably go for wireless operator as well. I think she like I said, she worked as an ambulance driver before, and I think she's probably got a bit of a knack for machinery and the like. So yeah.
Excellent. Cool. So cool. So you were dropped into France in the dead of night, parachuting in from a small Lysander aircraft. The flight was dark, cold, and noisy. The pilot was very friendly towards you, though he only knows you by your code name. He has made many drops and encouraged you with his confidence in you. You'll be great, he said, using your code name. So, that is where we can talk about our code names. Yes. Holly, comment vous appelez?
Denise.
Denise, excellent.
Denise.
And okay, so Maggie, you're Marie Louise.
Yep.
Okay, and Esperanza, you are Marie.
Yeah, so sometimes her accents makes it sound like Mari
Okay.
because of the Spanish.
Yep. Trill that R by accident. All right. Cool. We are now ready for the first chapter of your life. And that is the arrival scene. So before we do that, we're right up at 3/4 past. So why don't we take this opportunity, take a break, think a little bit about our characters, and come back, say at 10 of. Does that work for everyone? Great. So let's get this thing going. The theory of the game seems to be that you will not necessarily be interacting that much as main characters with each other, but of course that could happen, fortunes of war and all that. So there's going to be a lot of portraying secondary characters in the other main characters' stories. So that's fine. When you need people to be cast in the scene, we'll just flop some secondary characters in there, and then we can all divvy up those roles. I am at your service to play NPCs, German officers, whatever you need. So the first chapter is Arrival, and it focuses on a slice of life and relationships, getting to know the people in your circuit, and because each of the resistance groups were organized in what were called circuits. It will include meeting members of the SOE, who you may know from recruitment or training, full-time members of the Resistance, both men and women, and ordinary people who are risking their lives to help and support your work. Some may be glad to see you, some may resent you, some may fancy you and try it on, some may fear what you might mean for their existing relationships, some may look down on you because you are a woman or welcome you because you remind them of their daughter. Supporting characters might be other members of the SOE, resistance fighters, or their families. So, the thing to do here would be one of you to volunteer to be first, and then draw a card. We'll interpret what that means, or we'll talk about what that's going to mean for the scene, and then let's set a scene, and let's try and use our standard story game bag of tricks, start close to the action, look for some conflict, that sort of fun stuff. I'm not super up historically on everything about the French Resistance, but I know a few things, so I'll try and pitch in with details as come today. So, who wants to step up first? Come on. See, you've all learned a valuable lesson about the military. Never volunteer.
Sure, I'll go for a scene.
It seems appropriate that you should have pride of place here. All right. So on Roll for Your Party, there's that little box next to cards. Just put a 1 in there and hit submit, and it should draw you a playing card. Cool. It's a club. Club is misfortune for the resistance. So that'll be fun. So what that means is we should try and frame the scene around something that's going to happen that will not be good. So how do you want this to go, David?
Yeah, so I'm thinking maybe I've only maybe literally just parachuted in, or certainly not long before. But since sort of I was dispatched to come and meet up with this particular circuit, essentially they've been exposed, so they're kind of having to bug out of their sort of current headquarters, what have you, and find somewhere else to set up, sort of thing, and as the Gestapo are about to lead a raid on sort of their current premises.
Fantastic. So who do we think is going to be in this scene?
Yeah, so I guess probably some assorted members of the local resistance group. I didn't have any particular any particular sort of individuals in mind, but
we're okay. Having cats is wonderful. Yeah. While I reset my camera angles, so maybe so we're talking French or SOE liaison, or probably a mixture of both, maybe.
Yeah. So yeah, maybe a couple of sort of French resistance members, and yeah, the local SOE liaison as well, who was sort of here to probably wouldn't have been here at this time if he weren't here to meet me, sort of thing.
Great. Okay, cool. So yeah, let's drop some names on them and cast those guys, and we'll take off.
Cool. So I think I'm just going to head back to the random list of names. Here we go. So I think the two resistance fighters are Elise and Guillaume, and the SOE liaison is called Max.
Fantastic. Cool. I can play Max if that works.
Cool.
All right, so where we want to set this? Maybe like you've just arrived and been taken to headquarters and people are already bugging out?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Fantastic. All right, cool. Yeah. So maybe like, what would their headquarters be? Maybe like the base. It's like a farmhouse. Maybe in the yeah. I think so. Maybe you're like being led in by, oh, shall we say, Guillaume? Cool. All right. So yeah, Max is there tossing papers into a waste paper basket that's already got the fire started. I'm like, yeah, you're Marie Louise, right?
Yeah, that's it. Just got in. It looks like.
Great. You're a radio operator, right?
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah, help me take this thing down.
Sure thing. And yeah, she'll start kind of dismantling the radio kit and packing it up. I imagine it's got kind of like a carry case sort of thing that it breaks down into. And she's kind of gone into that thing of just kind of doing it on autopilot sort of thing without really paying attention to sort of the situation. Well, not paying attention, but she's not sort of this is her thing. She's doing it. She's getting on with it, kind of thing.
Right. You're pro, love. You're pro. Hi, Guillaume. Did you see anything out there?
Not yet, but I'm sure that they're on their way.
Yeah, you know them. They'll sneak up without even saying anything, Yep.
Quiet bastards.
Seems like I picked the right night of it to come in. Do you know what's? Do you know how they found out about this?
We probably betrayed. Happens a lot. Elise, have you seen your sister yet? Because
I don't know where she was. She said she went for a smoke. She's not back yet, and I'm trying. I know we gotta get out of here soon.
yeah. Yeah. Went for a smoke, right?
Yeah, I mean, she's been pretty good at kicking the habit, but with everything that's been going on,
Yeah. Mary Louise.
Yep.
Yeah, love. Have you ever blown anything up with C4?
Well, only on the practice range, not in your actual thing here. But yeah, what do you need?
This place. We need to blow this place and go now.
Right, sure thing. Where'd you keep the kit?
So yeah, where would they? Anyway,
Yeah.
it's in an ammo box.
Yeah.
Oh, let's throw in a little telling detail. Maybe there's a picture of somebody with a guy who's quite clearly a German soldier.
Sure thing.
All right.
Yeah, and I think she's going to get to work and start rigging sort of I figure they're like in the sort of big wine cellar underneath the farmhouse itself, and just going to sort of start rigging all the sort of joists with C4 chargers.
Excellent. So, do you guys get away before the Gestapo comes, or is it a near thing?
I think it's probably a near thing. We don't manage to get everything out that we'd want. We have to leave some supplies behind. Obviously, we lose the farmhouse itself. I think kind of the rear guard probably do exchange shots with the Germans, and I don't think anyone's killed, but a couple of resistance fighters are wounded in the exchange.
Fantastic. All right. Well, we're off to a banging start. Cool. Who wants to go next?
I'll go. Okay. All right, one card. Oh man, another club.
Fantastic. 4 is hell. There's a reason why Night Witch's tempt fate is a guts move. Cool. Okay. No, you stay there. You've done enough. Should have known. Gray cat. Sympathies are on the wrong side here.
At least you don't have to worry about your Ethernet cable being chewed through, which happened in my Wednesday game with the host.
Yeah, that's fair. That is very fair. Fortunately, I like to do things in post, so I can do things like fix the monitor falling on its face. Cool. So what's going on here? How shall we frame this up?
So this is still an arrival, right?
Yep.
Okay. Let me think for a second. So yeah, I think that it's not quite the Gestapo nearly finding the headquarters or whatever, but I think it's also shortly after I've touched down and trying to find the nearest and closest resistance group to join. And I think that because of who I am and what I look like and everything, there's its own level of resistance present, and it's a rather unpleasant one. I think I'm like. So this one is okay. So it's misfortune, and it's misfortune for the resistance.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh man.
Well, what we could do is maybe link these stories a little bit, and maybe either maybe you're at a dressing station for some of the guys that just got shot.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I think. Thank you, because that is a little bit of me was like, I want to connect, but I also want to go. I don't know, but thank you.
No problem. That's facilitation.
Yeah.
Cool. So maybe let's get some characters for your particular side of this story.
Yeah.
There's got to be a doctor or maybe a vet. No, doctor. Med
yeah,
student. Med student.
yeah, med student. Thank you. That's perfect.
I'm not sure if France admitted women into medical school at this point. Switzerland did. I think France did too.
I'm thinking it is a male doctor.
Okay.
And
How about Mark? That's always a good
yes,
doctor's name.
that's great.
Cool. So we got Mark the doctor. We could potentially have Marie Louise showing up. And maybe we need one more local.
Yeah, I think there's someone maybe assisting the doctor, not a doctor or med student herself, but just kind of having to deal with that. And how about the name Zoe?
All of them. Excellent. Cool. All right. So yeah. So let's set this maybe. So I guess maybe you arrived and immediately they told you that we just had some wounded come in from a couple nights ago.
Yeah. And I think I'm definitely a little more frazzled than even I had expected to be. Training prepared me as much as it could, but the real thing is always different, especially with war and the resistance and everything. And so, I'm trying to assist with bringing people in and trying to make sure that all those who need attention get it. And I think that, even though there isn't a wireless thing to operate, I think I'm basically providing my services by communicating between the doctor or med student and basically anyone who needs attention. So I think I'm rushing over to the doctor, Mark, and just kind of a little scrambling, and I think I'm just maybe a touch out of breath, and just there's a patient needs attention. I'm so sorry.
Please tell me you have some medical experience. Lately, they've been sending me people who have zero, who are squeamish. I don't understand. This is a war. We cannot be squeamish.
I promise, sir, I'm not squeamish. This is just and I have some experience. There's a lot. There's a lot.
Zoe went to go run to get me some more bandages, but this guy, we got to save him. This guy has information. He hasn't woken up. I need your help. You think you can do that?
Yes. What do you need from me?
I need you to hold him down while I try to stitch this part of his liver back together.
Got it. And I think, I just kind of just hold him down with as much of my strength as I can.
We ran out of sedation weeks ago. So the guy's screaming, unconscious, but still kind of screaming because that does happen.
Yeah. Well, I mean, as long as he's screaming and not dead, I'm feeling the slightest bit better about his chances.
Yeah, and Mark gets to work quickly, and is muttering under his breath about just lack of supplies in general and everything's like, "What's your specialty, anyways?"
Wireless operator.
The wireless operator. Another one. All right, you better be better than the last one.
The last one?
We don't talk about her.
Okay. I actually think there was another one around here. I think actually.
There could be. There's so many women around here running around doing shit. I don't like. They're not helping me, and that's all that matters to me. So.
Okay.
Obviously, Mark is a little bit of an ass. Be on the lookout. Be on the lookout for Zoe. Bright blonde hair. She's supposed to have some more medication that we hopefully still have. Tell her to get her ass here. I'm almost done, but I gotta focus.
Yeah, and I think I'm on the lookout for Zoe, and it's like 15 minutes later that Zoe shows up with, unfortunately, a meager amount of supplies.
And Mark's frustrated, not at Zoe, but just at the lack of surprise. And Zoe's, I would think, is used to Mark's brash behavior, and takes it. And is able to finish. It's like, all right, you can go, kid. Even though we're probably the same age, but it's like I think the last communications we have is down over there. If you want to check out, you're right. I think there was another chick around here. But they were helping their squad mates out.
All right. Just let me know if you need anything else. I'll do whatever I can.
Thanks.
And I think at this point, Maggie's going to turn up with a sort of tray of tin mugs. Say, cup of tea, love.
Thank you. Yes. Are you the other wireless operator?
Yeah, that's me. Been doing what I can to help out here before we get on the move again. A few of our lads got banged up in a raid the other night. It's been pretty hectic, but well, I guess that's what we signed up for, isn't it?
Yes, I suppose it is. Have you seen much? I don't want to say action because it feels too heroic and everything is.
Yeah, came down right in the middle of it, unfortunately, but well, needs must and all that. And she'll hand over a mug to the doctor as well. So you're
finally
coffee, doctor.
Good cup of tea. And Mark drinks it and is handed back more.
Yeah, she'll hand over another, and well, I best get back. I think we're going to be on the move again soon. Those of us who can get patched up have been. Well, good luck. And yeah, she'll sort of head back off the way she came, sort of thing. She's walking with a slight limp, I think, but doesn't seem to have any obvious wounds.
Yeah. Okay. And I say good luck in return, and I don't think anyone dies in this, but a lot of the men aren't looking good, and supplies aren't looking good, and things are just seeming more and more dour.
Nice. Very good. All right, so let's find out what the story of Marie is. Oh, fantastic. Okay, so you drew a spade.
Yay! It's just gonna be a dark night tonight.
Okay. So someone's gonna die.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Um.
So what should we do with this?
Someone I know dying. Okay, let's see. I'm looking at the mission prompt or the scene prompts they have for. Okay. Sorry, so many tabs. So Maddie has been on. I want to use the prompt that she's on a train with a fellow courier, and Maddie is the kind to kind of fall in love easily, or what she thinks is love. And so her and her fellow courier has had a little bit of a dalliance because it's been a long train ride. But um and then the inspection's going to happen. And Mari thought that they both would pass, or at the very least, if anybody wouldn't pass, it would be Mari because she does have a slightly darker complexion than most other people, and the courier who I guess we'll name Anna, uh, is definitely European. So yeah. So I think like
So do you need some Germans to come in?
yeah, some evil Germans.
Ich bin deine Frau. Ich bin deine Okay, cool. So we've got Anna, who's gonna die. So I shouldn't have crossed her off yet, but somebody else can play Anna, and maybe we'll need more Germans. But yeah, there's definitely gonna be a Gestapo guy and a couple of Vichy policemen coming through. And right. Meine Damen und Herren, wir müssen hier halten ein Moment. Eure Passen, bitte. S'il vous plaît, your papers.
Oh, excuse me, sorry. German, I have not learned German yet. And
Give it time, Fräulein. Give it time.
and Maddie fumbles through her purse and everything, playing up the little bit of like being kind of like scared, but she's not too scared. She's used to inspections. And she just gives like a small smile to Anna and hands the paper. It's like, here. Everything should be order perfecto.
Perfecto, huh?
Yeah, that does slip out. Perfectamon. I mean, I don't know the German.
So yeah, how are you gonna get Anna in this in a way that gets her in trouble? I mean, there are a couple obvious ways, but I forgot to do the safety lecture before the scene started, so I'll fix that right away. But there is an X card on the table. We all know how it goes, but I will step through and do the proper safety lecture in a second. Yeah, I mean, there's one obvious thing that the Gestapo would pull her off the train for. There are several obvious things that the Gestapo would pull her off the train for. So, who wants to play Anna? Who wants to play Anna?
Oh yeah.
All right.
So considering like the situation of this and the whole thing of this game, I'm perfectly fine with it being a veil of off-scene sexual violence because unfortunately that would have been part of a thing. I'm fine with that.
Yeah, well, I was actually just thinking that they'd pull her off because she was Jewish.
Oh, Jewish. I didn't even think that. Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be a more obvious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that could
I'm okay
actually,
with that as a veil too. Like,
yeah, definitely. Yeah. Um. So yeah. Uh. Let's just. So the guy's looking over your papers, and probably maybe you were set up to be like your cover story is that you're working for Anna.
yeah.
And so the guy looks at Anna, and says, "This is your employee,
Yes, my employer.
and you, Fräulein, your papers, please."
And I'll give the papers.
You don't have a proper work permit for your employee.
Everything should be there. The paperwork.
It should be, but it is not.
It is a 500 franc fine.
I look at Anna like this. Like, I think Maddie is a little like they're obviously lying. Like, this isn't like she's confused for a brief moment and just looks at Anna like very confusedly.
I just like the idea. It's like a Gestapo guy on the take. On political, he's just like, I want my money. If you cannot rectify the situation, you will not be allowed to continue on your journey. I'm very sorry. We'll have to arrest you. I sincerely hope, Fräulein, that there is nothing else that we would need to worry about in your past. But of course, our noble allies in unoccupied France are most thorough about investigating records. They are quick studies.
And Maddie's looking like through her purse and like, that's not money. We weren't prepared for paying for bribes kind of thing.
And I think Anna's voice just breaks a little bit, and I don't have that money.
You expect us to believe you are traveling with a personal servant, and yet you have no money.
It's her family. Her family pays for me, not her.
I see.
I have this. This is all I have, and she pulls out. I guess like the equivalent of like whatever, maybe like $50 would be. And that's all, but like cup like change. Like, we can give you this for now, and maybe we get your address, and we can send the rest to you.
Lieutenant, it seems to me that there's more than a few needs for domestic servants, especially where they're traveling at the barracks. But as for your employer, I'm afraid she must come with us.
I am sure her family will be quick to resolve the situation once we make them aware of it, and we can put this matter behind us.
They seem like the type that they would have more than adequate resources.
I look at like Anna like very worried, obviously.
Yeah, and I think Anna's looking right back, going, I didn't plan for this. I think I'll offer up like, the same amount of money, like just whatever she had left on her for the travel and everything. And I think obviously it's not enough.
And I think Marie does do a mistake of like touching like Anna's arm, like trying to like okay, we got to stay calm, but a little bit more intimately. That maybe the other two notice, like because she's definitely not she's used to lying and like being a courier, but not with someone she cares about. And
Yeah.
I think maybe we can draw the veil on the rest, because
yeah,
I got no desire to play the Gestapo guy dragging a poor girl off the train. So, cool. Hey, let's talk safety, folks, because that scene showed us why we should always do this at the beginning.
Yeah.
And I forget, because on the Gauntlet we have such amazing people that we all know this stuff, but it doesn't matter. So we are using the X card formally. The X card allows us to approach problematic content in a way that is safe for everyone. If you need to stop something, you may use the X card by hitting the button on the roll for your party, or you can say X card, or you can say you can do this, or you can type an X in the chat, but maybe like type it a lot so that I'll see it. And we'll stop and we'll figure out a way to route around the problematic content. And it is not necessary to tell us why something is bothering you. You can use it for content. The couple times I've had it used in a game, it was content. It wasn't anything. It was just like a way to head things off. Obviously, we have open door. I have had that one used too, twice now, in a game that I've been in. If you need to leave, your safety is far more important than anything in this game. And finally, I always like to use lines and veils. I think that we have pretty much established right away that there is a veil about Gestapo violence. Let's just put that there right now. So a veil means that we'll have the content in the game, but we're not going to put it on screen. I think, yeah, let's just put it general Nazi prejudice stuff. So, like, arresting somebody for being Jewish is fine, but let's not go into that, on screen. General Nazi shittiness covers everything. I usually like to veil sex because, and if there's any lines that people want to throw in the game right now, that is also a good idea. We can revisit these at any point. A line means we're just not going to include that content in this game.
I know it was probably a thing that definitely happened, but I'd like a line on cruelty to children.
Totally okay. No problem there. All right, cool. So that's all out of the way. Boy, this is a really dangerous job, folks. I mean, you just arrived and already it's pretty horrible. Cool. Yep. All right. Let me just make sure I got the right page. Yep. Cool. So we'll go on to the next kind of scene. This is the mission. There are many kinds of missions: sabotage, reconnaissance, assassination, career, wireless transmitting. The Nazis will be brutal in their retaliation against both the resistance and the local population, who they will happily blame for any problems. They want to make local people more likely to turn in outsiders, resistance, and SOE members. Being stopped and having your forged papers checked was always a risk when doing courier work. Finding somewhere safe for a wireless transmission and completing it before the radio cars would track you down was always a risk. Supporting characters might be other members of the SOE, resistance fighters, members of the local population, or, hey, Nazi officers. Those guys are popular tonight. Yep. So the aerial for these things is 70 feet tall. It's like a long, thin wire, but it is something you got to erect and take down if you move it. And what the Germans would do is they had cars equipped with directional receivers. They would just drive around trying to triangulate on any transmissions they heard. So you didn't usually have very long to transmit before they would find you and come for you. Huzzah! So I guess we will start with Marie-Louise. Why don't we draw a card and see what happens?
Sure thing. Oh, it's a heart.
Ah, l'amour. L'amour.
Cool. Yeah, so I think that yeah, I think the scene probably will be a just a sort of fairly standard transmission mission that doesn't work very well. But yeah, so we've just got the radio kit up. We're passing back some intel back to Britain. And I think it's probably me and Guillaume are essentially I'm doing the actual transmitting and he's sort of keeping watch essentially. So I think I've just finished. I think I've just signed off on the actual transmission itself, and I'm just waiting to see if there's waiting to see if we've got time and if we can get a return message before we have to pack up. So yeah, I think I've just sort of flicked it back onto flick the radio back onto receive. And I'll pull out a packet of cigarettes. So, do you want to smoke, love? I know they say you shouldn't when you're out at night, but if anyone's going to see the end of a cigarette tip in all of this, they're going to see the bloody 70-foot radio mast we've got set up. So,
yeah, sounds good to me. And take one, all that.
So, have you got anyone special waiting for you back at home?
I wish. I wasn't sure I was ever going to come back after this, so I kind of did my best to burn any potential bridges as I was leaving.
Not sure I can entirely blame you, love. It's my husband came over when it all kicked off. He was a pilot. He used to be a pilot back before the war, and well, one day he didn't come back. So
I'm sorry.
It happens. Really wish it hadn't, but you know.
These days, there's not a whole lot of use in wishing. There's a lot of use in hoping and doing. Wishing is a little difficult. Who knows what the next minute or hour or day brings.
Yeah, and I think that Mary Louise is going to sort of sit down next to him and put an arm around him. Well, for now at least, we got each other, and we're making a difference. That's all we can do.
It's a comforting thought. And that'll do.
I think there's just sort of a moment of silence, and then kind of the radio squawks. Well, better get back to it. And yeah, she's sort of gonna head back over and start transcribing the message that comes through.
Awesome. That was really sweet and lovely. Cool. So, yeah, let's see if Denise can ruin that for us.
Oh, I hope not. I really hope not. I'd like this to go well. Oh, no. I got a club.
Oh, well.
You sure love those clubs.
Yeah, I spend a lot of time in them. Oh, man.
Oh. So, yeah. What's going to happen to poor Denise? Let's see.
So, yeah, I think in a similar sort of scenario, it's the middle of the night. But the biggest difference is that right now, everyone's still on the move. We're still trying to find a place to transmit. We had found one location earlier, and everything seemed to be okay, but we were found almost more quickly than could be reasonably considered normal. So I think there's tension because although I think at least one person has kind of said under their breath that someone definitely betrayed us, and we're now trying to find a place while also trying to figure out if that person is amongst our ranks. So I think right now the people that I need for the scene are definitely members of the SOE. I don't have names. I think it's going to be a bit different from, well, obviously, but from what happened in David's scene. So I'm open to suggestions.
Ooh, I have historical knowledge, so I'll use it. Let's, let me get a good name here for a dude. Ooh, Eve. Yeah, that's good. So, one of the guys there is Eve, and he is a representative of the FTP, the Front Tireur Partisan, which was the communist arm of the resistance and was actually larger than the Free French for a lot of the war. So he's there as the representative of the FTP because clearly he doesn't want his network getting blown and is pissed that you guys are leaking like a sieve. He used a much more colorful French expression. Maybe we should have would it make any sense for Marie to be here?
You know what? I think it would. I think we've already had one encounter previously, and I think that although I didn't want to use like the same character she just interacted with, I think she is certainly we've ended up becoming a part of so far the same part of the resistance.
Cool, and also she just nearly got arrested, so and maybe we need one other local guy. Maybe it can be I don't know. Oh, we need the accused. There's got to be
Yes.
an accused, right?
Yes. I think there's definitely an accused, and I'm just trying to think of a name now.
Could it be Elise's sister?
Yes. I'm sorry. Wow, I got way too excited about that. But
I was waiting for that to like come up in a scene.
That's so perfect because even okay.
Gabrielle.
Yes.
With the too many
Gabrielle.
smoke breaks.
Yeah, that's suspicious.
Yeah. I was gonna make a comment. No. I'll see. Maybe I'll save that for this scene.
So David, I don't know if you're an old labor guy and want to play Eve. Otherwise, I'll snatch him.
Sure thing. I'll grab Gabrielle then.
French communists are a little bit of a specialty for me. Cool. All right. So yeah. So I think maybe the courier mission that Marie was sent on was basically to fetch Eve. So he comes in every inch the French partisan. He's got a red scarf on. He's got a rifle. He's smoking some. He's smoking. He doesn't even smoke Gauloise. He smokes Gitans.
And Marie is very done with him because she's met these types of guys back in Mexico because they have a very big communist party also.
Oh yeah. Cool. So yeah, Eves just storms in. It's like, all right, you've brought me here. Where is your other SOE? Where is your other liaison? We need to get this over with. I don't know how you do things here, but in the FTP, we do not suffer traitors. This is why our networks do not leak. That and we are actually fighting for something.
Marie just rolls her eyes and mutters in Spanish.
Yeah, and I think Denise is very wants to say just so much back, but it's just going to kind of keep a tight lip and just kind of gesture in the direction of where they're supposed to go and just kind of be like, don't look at me. I was not at fault here, and I am offended for you even thinking it was my fault.
You're the radio operator?
Yes.
So, how do we know that you are not transmitting leaked information? Or the leak could be in you. You could be. Have you been writing down your receipts improperly?
I am good at a few things, and one of those things is writing things down properly. Now, pardon my French, but it wasn't me.
I've heard of you, comrade. They say that you are, how we say, on fait le bavardage. You like to talk too much.
Takes one to know one.
I speak to my comrades openly. I don't share information with any Tom, Dick, or Harry.
Well, it is good that there aren't, other than you, there's no dicks around.
Look, can we just get this over with? The Germans have already almost caught us once. Can you not get this radio set up already?
It is actually rather interesting how quickly they caught us this time. And it was almost as quick as they did, from what I hear, back at the old headquarters. So, Gabrielle, I'm sort of wondering...
Are you accusing me of something?
Yes.
Accuse.
Oh,
That was out of character.
You have been in this country for what? A week? Already you think you know how things work here?
I don't need to know how everything works to know when I see someone who readily and constantly needs smoke breaks. In a time like this, we have to be constantly on the watch. So where is it that you go when you go on these smoke breaks?
I used to use that excuse a lot. Do you have a par more?
And what if I do?
I mean, if you were just with them, then you could easily free yourself of this accusation. I mean, I just got here and I just had a bad spat of luck before I had to pick him up.
It's true. If you had someone else who could corroborate your story, and certainly...
I know there's a lot of pretty femmes around here that you can't resist. And Madi kind of gives a smile to Denise.
And Denise definitely notices that and actually smiles a bit before trying to go, wait, no, I'm focused.
Unless, of course, she's sleeping with a German. In which case, it explains everything.
Madi definitely makes a face like that, like, ew, German.
And I think, yeah, I think I'm going to lock eyes with her and just kind of... Is he German? Is she German?
As a matter of fact, he is. But how else do you think I have been able to keep us apprised of their movements?
The worrying thing is that as much as you've been keeping us apprised of their movements, you could very well unknowingly be apprising them of ours. And that's a serious issue.
Maybe it was by accident. And if it is by accident, then we know now.
There are no accidents. She's sleeping with the German. She's sullied the honor of our country. Why are you hesitating? Take her out back and shoot her. Or toss her in a stream. I can have some very creative folks here very quickly. The Germans will never find her body.
What madness is this? How do you not know it is not him and his rabble that have been selling us out?
Oh, rabble? And he starts shouting in really rapid Breton French. It's far too fast for other people, but it's a tirade.
Yeah, and I think I'll it's not a great choice, but I'm just going to take a step between them and just go, we deal with this in a way that doesn't involve more deaths than are already happening every single day.
Agreed. It's not necessary right now.
Fine. Until you have rectified your security mess, my network will have nothing to do with yours. We will not coordinate with you. We will not warn you of our advance actions.
If you do not warn us, then do not be surprised when we have to retaliate, and we don't know.
I wish you well, comrade. I wish you great luck. But since you will undoubtedly all be killed by the Germans long before that, I find your threats to be most lacking. When you've decided to stop playing soldier, let us know, and then we will get back to the real struggle. Until then, I bid you all adieu. You should shoot that girl. And he just storms out.
Yeah, and I think as he storms out, there's just like a small pause as that like hangs in the air, and then I give a sharp look to Gabrielle, and just whoever else is in the room, I just kind of say, "Have her watched," and then I leave the room.
Fantastic. Perfect. And good work job working within the scene constraints, because we couldn't kill her. We didn't get the paid card.
I knew that, but I was also like in the back of my mind going, "That's still a possibility," and I was like, "Nope."
No, he just just causing more bad blood with the communists. Because they're notoriously thick-skinned and just let slights roll right off their back.
Yeah.
Alrighty, let's see.
To be a red. Okay, yes. Let's see what happens to poor Marie. She's already had a rough time of it.
Yeah, diamond. Yay.
Ooh, diamond. That's success. What?
Yay.
Everyone's got one negative, one positive, and then there's me.
Maybe in the end you'll be the only one to survive. That would be a positive, right?
This is fair.
That'd be a really depressing positive.
Alright, so scene will revolve around success for resistance, personal. Ooh. Okay. We'll look at the examples and see what comes to mind. Um, Ooh, okay. I think after all that string of bad luck that Maddie has, especially with the paperwork debauchery and losing Anna, um, she goes towards a mission that has to do with saving some more Jews. So, dropping off paperwork for a forged paperwork for like a group of Jews that are trying to escape that need it. And so she's able to do it successfully, but not that it wasn't dangerous anyways. So I think with so I think it's like just outside the train station before she's able to drop it off. She's waiting for like a signal that has the all clear for her to go and do that. And I guess it would be with. Did the SOE use regular people to help them out, or was it always just strictly within?
Well, you would have resistance contacts, and some of those would just be civilians. They weren't like armed combatants. They were doing, espionage type stuff.
Right. So yeah, so I think she'd be waiting for a signal from like a civilian, like maybe someone that worked at the train station. And it just the way that the crossover happened was there was a big group of either Gestapo or Nazi people just like coming through, and so she had to wait for that to pass before she can go and drop off the paperwork. And then she would have wanted to hear to ensure that they got out safely with the paperwork. So at least one civilian contact named. Doo-doo. Where are you, list? Named Alexis. And yeah, I guess like random people maybe.
Sure. Cool. So, where does the scene pick up?
I think like I don't go to like regular train stations often, so because we don't really have them here. Like I guess we're like she's waiting. Where like there'd be like I guess the benches. I'm just like going off of like movie references of like old school train stations.
Right. I'm just like, so what's gonna happen in this scene, or like, where's the action
Yeah.
start?
Yeah, the action. That's a good. I had it and it just like went right out of my head. Sorry. Like the action would be. Well, if anyone else can jump in with an idea, like yeah, I just had it and it just completely went right out of my head.
Maybe they've actually got some refugees too,
Yeah.
and maybe they're being passed along on the road to Spain.
Yeah, I like that.
All right, so we got some rando refugees, maybe a couple kids. No, wait, let's not do kids. Forget the line. Yeah, just like a nice married couple.
Yeah.
Cool.
And you can think if you want to think of a name for them. That's totally cool.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, Jean-Paul and Le Pen.
Nice.
And then we also have the resistance contact.
Yeah, Alexis.
Right. Cool. All right, yeah. So, cool. Who wants to be Alexis?
Sure thing. Yeah, I'll. So yeah, I think Alexis is like a what you call it, like a station guard. So he's sort of on the platform in his uniform. And is going to approach Marie. And yeah, he sort of approached and sort of says, "Can I help you, mademoiselle? Do you need to know the time for the next train to Perpignan?"
Yes, exactly. I was worried I might have been late for that. Am I still in time?
Yes, the train is not due to leave for a little while yet.
And Maddie nods and she pulls out like a journal and opens it up. First to like what seems like a scribbled page. It's like, since I have your attention, once I get there, I was wondering if you can help me for the connecting train, and then she flips over the page, and then there's like the sheaf of like forged paperwork.
Of course. If you wish to accompany with me to the office, I can show you the timetable.
Excellent, thank you. And she smiles and closes the book, but keeps it in her hand. And like just casually like looks around to see like just how badly like there's enemies about. As she now just calls them in her head the enemy. And I think she might have noticed like some of like a little surprised that like there being more refugees than she expected. Like, is it always this busy with such people?
It depends. Sometimes more, sometimes less. We obviously try and accommodate as many as we can, but it is,
Has
as you can
the
understand, getting the tickets can be difficult.
Yes, everything seems to get more expensive as the year goes on and the war goes on. Has there been lots of violence to justify all these police?
There has and there hasn't. Certainly, there are those who are taking the fight to the government and the Germans, but nothing could not, I think, that justifies what is being done.
And Maddie nods and falls along with him.
Yeah, and I think I head to like a kind of storage shed. It's over at one end of the platform, and it kind of unlocks it with a key, and there's people inside.
And Maddie does like a quick head count of like, okay, did I bring enough paperwork? Like, oh crap, kind of thing. And luckily, she has just enough like that she made ahead of time, and um, she smiles at Alexis and then goes and starts to pass out the paperwork to everybody. Well, I assume he keeps watch.
Yeah, he's going to kind of close the door behind her and just sort of lean against it, smoking a cigarette.
Good old cigarettes. The only time they're worth anything. So yeah, I think maybe she has to do like a little bit of on the fly like adjustments, like a married couple, because she's, especially after Anna, she wants to make sure everything is in order so they don't make any excuse for bribery or like bullshittery like that kind of thing. And I don't know if anyone wants to be Jean Paul and Lorraine to interact with.
Yeah, I'm good with either one of them.
I think I'll play Lorraine.
All right.
Jean-Paul, is this woman going to help us get to Spain?
Just we have to remain calm. If we make too much noise, they'll notice. But I think we're gonna be okay.
I go up to the both of you and I'm like, are you a couple? Parejas?
Yes, we were just married a few weeks ago.
Oh, congratulations. I want to make sure everything's correct. And she's looking down and did you have names you've chosen? it's much easier if you have names that you're used to calling each other. That's otherwise, if you slip up in front of any inspection.
Yes, I'm from Lorraine originally, so that's the name I'm using.
Oh, good, smart. and Maddie chuckles a little bit and like fixes the paperwork and it's like, has where you guys came from, has it been rough?
The devil has the people by the throat.
All we can do at this point is try to breathe.
I'm so sorry. Do you know if there's more from your area coming? I want to be prepared in case I need to make more for you guys.
At this point, there will always be more.
And Maddie nods solemnly. And because she is from Mexico and everything and very ingrained, she does like the sign of the cross to herself to like as her like prayer to like that everything goes well for you guys. And so she hands you to the paperwork. It's like there should be no problems with this paperwork. Everything is in this sheet. If they ask for anything more, it's them trying to bribe. If you have money, be ready to part with it. But hopefully they're not all that greedy.
God bless you, ma'am.
Thank you.
And Maddie nods and says, and it's the only time she ever like falters in her French is when she says it back in French because she's so used to saying it in Spanish. So she says "God bless you" back in French, and then does like a light rap on the door.
Yeah, and Alexis will open the door and say, the train is on platform 2. You should hurry and get on board.
She commits his face to record because just in case, especially after the problem with Gabrielle, it's like, but she does smile and goes, "Thank you."
Vive la France.
Nice. Okay. So that was mission. Next is interlude, I believe. Yes. Cool. There were moments of calm between the storms of activity. Perhaps the Nazis were on the move and everyone had to lay low. Perhaps the weather meant that the plans had to be postponed. It's an opportunity to remember more about what it was like living with the people in your section, living with the local people nearby, and finding out about their small acts of resistance or betrayal or affection. How are you affected by the people around you? And how do you affect them? Supporting characters might be other members of the SOE, resistance fighters, their family members, or other villagers. Alright, so let's see what's going on in the continuing story of Marie-Louise. Ooh la la.
It's hearts again, yeah.
Woohoo. Does she just have a thing for French dudes? Because that's okay. I mean,
it definitely seems that way, yeah.
I mean, because fair. Cool. All right, so it looks like, so tell us, what's going to be about this scene? Should we do the cliche trapped in a wine cellar for a long weekend while the Germans are searching the countryside?
Yeah, that sounds good. That sounds good.
With dramatic rain and an old gramophone.
Yeah.
That plays
Yeah.
Edith Piaf.
And all that wine so it won't go to waste.
All right.
Yeah. So yeah, I think it's going to be Marie Louise is going to be she's going to be with I've lost his name, Guillaume again. And yes, they are sort of sheltering in this wine cellar. And I think that they're not under immediate threat. There's no sort of Germans in the immediate vicinity, and Marie-Louise has just finished cooking a sort of rudimentary meal on sort of a little camp stove. And sort of served it up onto their sort of tin plates. But yes, does manage to scavenge a surprisingly decent bottle of wine from one of the racks. Going to take down one of the sort of candles they've got lighting the room and put it in the middle of the table. Well, it's not exactly the Ritz, but make do and mend. And she's going to pour wine out for the both of them in sort of the little enamel mugs.
Yeah, certainly not the worst I've had. And might even pass for good.
She's going to raise the mug and say, well, Sante, and take a drink.
Yeah, he's gonna take a drink too.
It's if nothing else, Guillaume, it's been nice to meet you here. It's not something I was expecting, but it's nice to find a friendly face amongst all of what we've got to put up with.
I could say the same. It's certainly unlikely, but I guess if we look back far enough, there's been a lot that's happened that should be unlikely. And at least of the unlikely things, this is a nice one.
Yeah, you can say that again. Look, I mean, I'd usually try and be a bit more tactful about this sort of thing, but given how, well, any day could be our last. I've I've grown quite fond of you, and if nothing else, I don't know. Like I said, I don't know if we'll both make it through this thing okay. And if we do, who knows what's going to happen? But maybe tonight, just the two of us could act like things were normal. And will you come to bed with me?
It's certainly the first time I've been asked in that way, but whatever the circumstances, why not?
Cool.
Veil.
Yep.
Well, what can one say but l'amour? Cool. So, Denise, gotta follow that one. Wish you well.
My one wish at this point is to pick a card that's not black. Oh! I'm laughing. Oh, I'm only laughing because I'm just really, really like, I pushed my luck. Oh man. So that's a spade. That's a spade. So
Yes.
someone dies.
Yes. If only we had a person. Oh, wait. Well, there's a couple things we can do with this. I mean, obvious answer is obvious is something to do with Gabrielle.
Oh, yeah.
But I mean, it doesn't mean that we have to kill Gabrielle, but maybe somebody dies. This time somebody died. The Germans got too close, and this time somebody bought it.
I mean, it could be one of the enemy dies. It could be maybe her lover.
That too. Ooh.
Ooh.
That's so twisted. I like it.
Oh, yes. Yes. Oh, man. That makes me so happy. And go ahead.
I have an idea for that. Eves comes in with the guy, and it's like, we're executing him.
Oh, I'm laughing. I'm laughing only because I'm so anxious about. Yeah. That is exactly. Oh my god.
Eves realizes he needs us, and this is the only way he can make sure he gets the upper ground.
Yes, that's how we're going to spin it. What really happened?
That's how Eves is going to spin it.
Yeah. Okay. So I think for our supporting players, we definitely have to have Gabrielle. We definitely have to have Eve, which then basically leaves the last character being her German lover.
I could take Gabrielle this time. I definitely cannot do a German accent, so.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I'm happy to play the German officer whose name will be Werner.
Oh, Werner.
That's good.
Oh, Werner. Okay, cool.
Yeah. So I think to set the scene, this being the interlude, I think this actually, the core of it takes place in a similar looking room as before. I think at this point there's still been a detail on Gabrielle. No one's sure anymore if they can trust her. There's things have been quiet, not necessarily because they're safe, but because there's just currently nothing to report. And I think that, Denise is talking with some of the people who are in charge of watching Gabrielle, and I think, they're sort of talking in hushed tones, just because, at this point, it's starting to become a bit of a burden. The people that are keeping an eye on her should be spending their time doing more important things in this resistance, but because of Denise's call, and also because I think, again, we don't want to be like the Germans. No one's willing to, just get rid of her. And I think, there's a commotion from outside, and I think that's when Eve enters with Werner.
Bonsoir, mes bons amis. I have brought you a little present.
I think throughout like most of the day, Gabrielle was pouting and just annoyed because she's sick of being babysat. Then as soon as she sees Werner, she's like, "Mi amor!" Like lights up and is smiling.
May I present to you Oberleutnant Werner Schmidt? He is he appears to be a simple Wehrmacht officer, but he is in fact a member of the Sicherheitsdienst and is performing counterintelligence work in this area. Aren't you, Werner?
Yes, that is correct. I cannot refute your accusation.
Your French is excellent, by the way. Heidelberg?
Yes.
I've always wanted to visit it. Alas. So, Gabrielle, is there anything you wish to tell us before we pass sentence?
I didn't think he was high up. I thought he was just a soldier. I thought you loved me. I thought we had a thing. And she goes like towards him, like completely surprised and on the verge of tears.
Yeah, and I think Denise sidesteps and certainly cuts in front, and just kind of makes sure that Gabrielle doesn't quite make it to Werner, and just says, "Now is not the time to be realizing these things."
She's really rather a good actress, isn't she? She almost had me fooled for a little while.
What are you talking about?
Now, she has been well aware of my position for some time. This is why I have been operating her.
And she turns to look at it. He's like, he is lying. You know how the Germans are.
I do
Actually,
know how.
I don't know how the Germans are, but you do.
Because we are willing to get into the thick of things, unlike you commies.
You should have your hair shaved. You should be flogged into the square as a public shaming to anyone who will help these monsters destroy la patrie.
I did not help. I told you. I was using him for information.
Gabrielle
Okay.
as one of us. There is little I can say to you besides you should have been more thoughtful. And I kind of turn on my heel towards Werner and kind of like side glance Eve, just look at him and say, "You are not one of us. I have no qualms about whatever must be done to you."
Well, I knew that I would not be treated with the respect my rank is due from the moment these animals got their hands on me.
Let me be very clear. You are being treated with the exact amount of respect that your very rank deserves, which is nothing.
That is not what the Geneva Convention says.
I did not remember you observing the Geneva Convention when we... the first time I fought Germans in Spain.
What do you recommend we do with him?
Oh, it's a shame he knows so much. We could have traded him for prisoners. But as he knows too much, I'm afraid the only thing we can find for him is a permanent resting place in France. Be of good cheer. Should be every German's dream to die in France. As for the girl, if you wish to continue to trust her, that's your business, but I'm afraid that passing out biscuits is not an effective counterintelligence system.
I think Gabrielle tries to go up to Eve and slap him.
Absolutely. It's very cool.
Yeah.
And she doesn't even look at her former lover like yeah.
Yeah, and I think Denise kind of watches her processing a few different things at once, and then says to Eve, "Do what needs to be done," and then looks at Gabrielle and
Werner will just look and say, while you are handing out summary executions, you may as well dig 2 holes. It will save time in the long run.
I would have thought that with your great love for each other, you would prefer to be buried together.
And she Gabrielle looks at still looks at Denise like, I may have made a mistake in trying this tactic, but you surely do not believe him over me.
the fact of the matter is, I don't believe him over you because I don't believe either of you. And trust is a rare thing and a commodity in this war. I'd say you'd do well to remember that next time.
Next time?
But I'm not so sure. Just kind of looks at Eve like, let me finish my sentences.
And Gabrielle's just thinking like men.
Right, like this this is the only moment they're having together where they're on the same page. It's like, just keep but I think it's do what you'd have done to him, and frankly do as you'd see fit with the other.
A wise decision. This must be the practicality I keep hearing about in our noble British allies. Oh, come on. And he opens the door and whistles, and two more clones of him basically walk in.
And Gabrielle is gonna fight the entire way, like pissed, because essentially Denise believed a German male over her, and still protest her innocence to whatever he was like indicating.
Of course. Yeah. And that's the scene.
Oh wow, we're all such horrible people.
Oh, absolutely. Like, I gotta be honest, like, I was expecting to play this nicely, and like, one of my advantages is that I'm good with people, but like, that hasn't come up at all because I've just been in dark situations.
We're seeing how the real Canadians act, eh?
Ooh.
Oh, sorry to any actual Canadians who ever watched this. That's not intentional.
Hey,
I have many friends who are Canadian.
ask people about Vimy Ridge. You'll be entertained, and then you'll regret doing that because I'll talk about it a lot.
Okay.
All right, let's see.
Yep. So yeah, let's see what happens with them. Okay.
Another spade.
Death is in the air. Da, 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 da. All right. So how's this gonna? Oh God, it's Jean-Luc and Lorraine, isn't it? Oh God.
Maybe. Let's see. I'll look at. I think. Nah, I'm not gonna do that to the couple. We've already had one Jewish death, sadly. So I think it's gonna be once again. Yeah, so it's intermission. So Mari's between courier jobs, and I like the prompt that an accident kills a Nazi that you've met. They investigate all his contacts, and I'm questioned about his death. And I think maybe it's one of Werner's contacts, like buddies, just to keep it all like it's a small world kind of thing. Where what had happened was that after having couriered Eve over the first time, and after all that incident, Maddie had a small courier job where she had to skirt around Nazis, and because Gabrielle's lover was nearby and his regiment was nearby, that's how Maddie had interacted with them, and not necessarily had a dalliance with the guy, but like publicly it looked like she was flirting with him and everything, but it was just a way to pass the time and get some information, but nothing actually happened. And she had gone on about her day, but there was enough witnesses to say, oh, they were together, kind of like implications. And then she gets picked up maybe after she's at a cafe, like enjoying her what she was assuming was anonymity.
Cool. So who we wanna? Do we want to do maybe a callback to Max and Marie Louise?
Yeah,
Maybe they're the ones who are interrogating.
I like that.
Is that okay with you, David?
Sure thing, yeah.
All
Because
right.
apparently we have a lot of people leaking shit.
Yeah. Boy, that network, Denise's network, just wow. Leaks.
What was the earlier comment? Like a sieve?
Yeah.
I need to actually find out what the French expression for that is. Oh yeah, I'm seeing my French teacher tomorrow. I will ask him for suitably colorful versions. Cool. Yeah. All right. So, think maybe this is in the House of Resistance member.
Okay. Yeah, I like that.
Hmm. All right. Where's this bird was supposed to talk to Mary? Mary Louise. Where's?
I think that's her there.
Oh. Well.
Marie, is it?
I look up. I was like, oh, I think you're the other Marie, right? Marie Louise? Oh,
That's right. Yeah. This is Max.
Hello, love. You don't look like a German spy, but then again, yeah, you wouldn't.
I look like many people. That's why I'm good at what I do.
Oh, they're deuced clever, the German spies. I mean, that's their job. That's their job. Right. So, yeah. So this bloke Werner got shot, and word is that you may have been one of his conquests.
Werner, that sounds like a male's name.
Yes, it's Werner's male name, right? Right, Mary Louise?
Yeah, I mean he's a German officer, and they ain't exactly fond on women in the military over there. I mean, not that they are with our lot, really, but you know,
Not anywhere.
we do what we can.
Yeah, church and kitchen and all that, right? Yeah. Well, the thing is that we have a bit of a, well, the bottom's out of the tub on this one network, and we have to talk to everyone.
Problem
I
is that
see.
one of the radical lots got their hands on him and one of his women, and didn't have the foresight to, ask many bloody questions before they put the bullet in their head. So we've got to do a bit of digging.
Mm.
Yeah, well, can't trust them Reds. I mean, no, de Gaulle. There's a man we can do business with. That's politics. Who cares about that? So the problem is, love. You're not British, are you?
No.
Interesting.
Would you like to have a guess?
You're Mexican, is what I've been given to understand.
Yes, I am.
Funny thing is back at uni, I studied a bit about Mexico. There's quite a large number of German communities in the north of Mexico. Well, which part are you from again, love?
Central.
Oh, good. Oh, good. Yeah. So, yeah.
You seem like you've already made your decision.
Oh no, we're very open. We're open, aren't we, Marie? We're very open.
We
Very
are.
open-minded. Very open-minded.
We just.
That's not what I hear about the British. I mean, the most open-minded people are the ones in Paris. And Maddie gives a wink to Maddie Louise and a very flirtatious smile.
Look, love, we just need to make sure that you've not made any mistakes. We aren't. Look, the resistance do what the resistance do. Sometimes we have to turn a bit of a blind eye to it. But you're one of our lot. Even if you have been indiscreet, we've got ways of dealing with it. You ain't just going to get dragged out behind a barn.
You're implying I was indiscreet with a man, with a German man.
I'm not implying that you were. I'm implying you might have been. And we need to know if you have.
I have not. I don't deal with men. At least not like that.
Oh, bloody hell. Alright, alright.
This Werner, I mean, and she pretty much ignores Max for the most part and just looks at Money Louise. Is like, you know, men, you know how they can be. Sometimes you have to flirt a little. It's the only way to make them both notice you and forget about you at the same time. And that's what I had to do, but I did not let it go past that.
Sure thing. Did you know Gabrielle at all? Ever come into contact with her?
Briefly,
the
when I brought
pretty
that
young girl.
commie over, the one that likes to talk a lot. I mean, they all like to talk a lot, but this one. She claimed I sussed it out of her that she had a German lover. That she wasn't smoking all the time. I mean, you can only use that excuse so many times before people start suspecting.
I think Max is lighting a cigarette when you say that.
And you,
They had her under arrest last I heard, or house arrest, I mean.
and she didn't try and make any overtures to you.
No. I mean, I was very frustrated and tired. After I dropped off that man, I took a long, long nap. So if there's anyone else who's falling to these Germans, it's not with me. And who's making sure it's neither of you?
We have men on the case, love. We do. Everybody watches everybody else. That's the way. That's the way.
All right.
But I think she seems on the level, Max. I don't think she's.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't think shag the bloke, but I mean, we've got a bit of another problem here, don't we?
I mean, I'll be all ears and eyes.
Yeah. All right. It's out of my hands. I don't want anything to do with it. I'm off to somewhere else. Never mind where. Watch your back, love. Please don't. Don't make friends, Max. That's what they told me. Don't make friends because you're gonna regret it. Because things change very fast over there. It's true. It's true. I lost half my mates already. Oh, time to go.
And Marty looks at Melise. Man, they're so fragile sometimes, aren't they?
Yeah, tell me about it, love.
So what's your story? And I think that's like where it ends.
Cool.
All right. So, perhaps appropriately following up on that, the next scene is capture.
Woo.
Something went wrong and you were captured. This is the chapter where it happened. Maybe you were a wireless transmitter and they had zeroed in on your position. Maybe you made a stupid mistake that gave you away when crossing the road. Maybe your papers were wrong. Maybe a collaborator betrayed you to the Nazis. Maybe your love for the wrong person led you to the wrong place in the wrong time. Maybe someone who was important to you dies in the scene. This is a scene where you end up captured. Supporting characters might be other members of the SOE, resistance fighters, collaborators, Gestapo, Nazi soldiers, or innocent bystanders. All right. So I feel so bad for poor Marie Louise, but I must ask that you draw a card.
Sure thing. Actually, I'm just going to go and grab some water first, if that's okay.
Oh yeah. Is everyone okay? Do you want to take a break, or do you just want to? Do you want me to just go get some water? We'll just vamp here.
I do like how random the scenes have been, like, because it's really kind of like with dice, you really don't know what you're gonna get.
That definitely seems it's an interesting feature. Be interested to see how much more historical apparatus Alex is thinking of. I don't think he probably is. This game, I envy him. I envy the being able to do a small booklet and you just grab some cards, and I'm like pricing decks, and it's a mess.
Cool. Yeah. Sorry about that.
No problems. So yeah,
Let's-
let's draw this card.
so that'd be hearts again.
Okay. So love, but also capture.
Yeah. So I think it's going to be kind of back to the first mission scene sort of idea again. It's just another sort of me and Guillaume are out doing another relay mission sort of thing, transmitting. But we, over the course of the scene, we are going to be detected by by a German radio car. So yeah, be me and Guillaume, and then I guess, well, let's see how it goes. Possibly some Germans, but that might just be narrated. So yeah, I think again, Maria's going to be working the wireless set while Guillaume's on sort of lookout duty. Picking up a lot of interference on the wire tonight. I think they might have a car nearby throwing things off. Keep an eye out.
Yeah. And I think he's scanning like he usually does. And I think, this is for whatever reason he wasn't paying as close attention as he usually does, and when he scans again, he does see what look like headlights not that far off in the distance, and I think he turns and just kill it.
I'm almost done. I'll be just one more minute, and she goes back to like tapping out the message.
We don't have time. And he just kind of, I think, he's really torn and sort of helpless to be like, I'm not going to unplug the thing or whatever, or start just dismantling it without, but he's a little agitated.
Go and get the van started up. I'll follow in a sec.
All right. And he runs off towards the van.
Yeah. And I think at this point the headlights do lock on. We can sort of see a kind of radio car and a sort of little jeep type thing with a few soldiers in it, obviously coming in our direction. And she's going to just disconnect the aerial from the radio set. She's going to chuck the radio not too gently into the back of the van and just sort of slam on the side of it and say, "Go, get out of here now. I'll buy you some time." And she's sort of going to unhitch her Sten gun and
Yeah, I think he hears the word "go" and starts to before fully realizing what you're doing, and like the car moves a few feet, and then he sticks his head out the side and goes, "What are you doing? Get in here!"
they'll catch us if they'll catch us both if we stay. Just get going. I'll lose them in the woods. And yeah, she's going to start like firing bursts of fire at the oncoming vehicles.
Yeah, and I think he'll just, in a huff, kind of take off because she's right. Doesn't want her to be, but she's right.
Halt! Hand the hawk!
Yeah, and I think she's going to sort of exchange fire, but yeah, she's eventually going to surrender when it's clear that she's not going to get away.
Cool. I think we can veil the general Nazi shittiness. Excellent. All right, but you saved your lover. That was nice. Cool. So yeah, let's find out what happens to poor Denny. Interesting. Yep. Games are powerful. All right, so let's wrap this on poor Marie.
Yes, let's see. Submit. Oh, a heart.
Wow. Well, you've been talking about a lot. So.
Yeah. Let's see. I think. Yeah, I mean, Muddy's been pretty good at like, especially after Anna, to not like get that deep with anybody, especially not when they're on a mission together, because that's always bad. And I like the idea of. So she decided to go with civilian. The problem is that the civilian has a husband, and the husband is more mad about his wife cheating with another woman than the fact that this wife was cheating, and so decides to rat on both of them to the Nazis. Because yeah. So I think it's like, sorry, I'm hearing random noise in another tab. Okay, muted. So I think it's like after, like it's the morning after the lover who I'll give a name to. Let's see. Oh gosh. Let's go with Simone. So, wife Simone and the husband as I'm looking at male name surnames wax, and I was like, those don't sound like first names because they're not. Let's go with Nicholas. So Simone and Nicholas. And Simone thought that Nicholas was still on his like trip or whatever, but because it's been like they've been seeing each other for like a few weeks now. Whenever Mari's back from a courier mission and everything. And so it's like maybe breakfast time when I'm assuming her husband and some soldier comes in to arrest them both.
Yeah, it's probably the milice, the Vichy police.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. I can do Nicola if David wants to be Simone.
Sure thing.
Excuse me. So yeah, I think it's like one of the few times where like Mari's like very relaxed because like it's been a while since she does have most of her guards down because she believes she can trust Simone and everything. And so she looks at Simone's like, you make a very good dinner and a very good breakfast.
Why, thank you. I do my best with what we can get. It's nice to cook for someone who appreciates it.
Oh, I very much appreciate it. I miss home cooking, and even though the home cooking here is much different than in Mexico City, it's very nice.
Thank you. She'll pour coffee out here.
Gracias. And she takes the cup and like sips it like slowly. Like it's nice to have someone who doesn't question me because I'm not from here.
It is fine. Everyone is from somewhere.
Mm.
Sure, I grew up here, but I'd always hoped I might get away, travel a little, but then the war came, and well, it's not so easy now.
Mm. There's always a chance after the war, because the war will end.
It will.
I mean, if we make it through all this, maybe you can come visit Mexico sometime.
That would be. I would love to travel like that. Perhaps one day.
I mean, if you want, you can bring your husband. And I can just be an interpreter for you too.
Perhaps we shall see. We shall see.
And I think like Mari like pulls her down closer to give her like a kiss and everything.
That
Sure,
seems
so.
to be my cue. Yep. Nicholas just walks in because he's got a key. Looks at the two of you like, I didn't want to believe it. I didn't want to believe it. He was staring me in the face the whole time.
Believe what?
You've
Dear.
been seduced. I suppose perhaps God will forgive you one day.
And Nutty like Marie was trying to be like, oh, I'm just an innocent person here, and then when he says that, like she gives like the dirtiest of looks.
Gentlemen, she's in here.
What are you doing? Why are you?
I am sparing you from temptation and earning us some money.
And do you not remember what happened to Jesus and Judas?
You know, as I recall, when Judas kissed Jesus, it had similarly fatal results.
You cannot do this. Please, just.
We are in trouble enough, Simone.
And Marie stands up, and she looks at. Yeah, I think she looks at Simone to see what Simone's going to do first or say.
I think she's just kind of staring at the floor and just looking utterly defeated.
And I think like a small part of Marie was hoping maybe she might stand up to her husband, but at the same time she's like, and she just nods like to Simone, like just, and I think like she says in Spanish like you could do better. You still have a chance to do better. And just glares at the husband, and you will get yours one day.
I have no doubt that I will eventually find my reward. And I think that's when the cops come in and just grab Marie.
Yeah, and Marie doesn't resist, but she's like defiant about it.
Cool. Okay, let's finish this sucker up, huh? So prison. Here the focus returns to the here and now for the characters. Not so much the flashbacks, but their experiences together here in prison before being shipped off to a concentration camp or, medical experimentation at Nachtweiler. The interrogators were merciless in their torture to attempt to gain information from the prisoners. Sometimes they tried to charm the information out of prisoners first, but they were always prepared for brutal interrogation. It is inadvisable to play out the interrogation itself, but rather use narrative to talk about what had happened, and let the scene focus on the aftermath of it as your characters talk with each other or with supporting characters. Maybe you hold to your cover story, maybe you lie, or maybe you break. In real life, none of them broke. Maybe you attempt to escape, but were recaptured, or you were injured a guard and were beaten for it in turn. Maybe you encouraged a fellow prisoner and helped them keep things together, or saw one of your resistance friends suffer and be executed. Excuse me. Supporting characters may be Gestapo officers, Nazi soldiers, collaborators, fellow prisoners. You can also have scenes which involve one or more of the other player characters.
Cool. Spade.
That's that's not good. Okay. Well, you still can't die yet, so
No.
gotta be someone else.
Yeah.
Do we have anybody left? I mean, we can make up somebody. It's no problem.
Maybe Elise has also been captured.
Ooh. Oh, oh, yeah, wow, yeah, that works. That works.
Um, yeah, and I think that Mary Louise, and Elise are sharing a cell. Um, um, Elise, about what happened with your sister. I'm sorry. It shouldn't have gone.
She didn't betray us. She was just naive.
I want to believe that I do, and maybe you're right, but
I mean, there were
even
still problems after they executed her.
they shouldn't have handed her over to those.
To the commies? No.
I mean, they're decent sorts by and by, but not when it comes to stuff like that. Well, I guess we've not got much better to look forward to in here.
It would be easy, to tell them something. I mean, after the circuit didn't give my sister a fair trial, and yes, left into them. But I'm going to prove that our family was always loyal to the cause.
Good on you, girl. It's all we can do now. Just try and keep those of them still outside alive.
Seems a lot of us got captured, though.
Yeah, it's not been good. I mean, I suppose you can at least can be said for when they got me. I'm pretty certain that was just bad luck.
Mm.
But yeah, there's been too much bad luck going around.
There has. Maybe our luck will turn around. I mean, it has to eventually. We are the good guys.
Yeah.
I feel like that's got to be the moment when the guards come. Elise Levelier, come with us, please.
And Elise tries to look tough, but she wasn't ever really the tough sort. Like, I promise I'm not going to tell them anything. She whispers. And shakily gets up.
Keep your chin up, love. Don't let them show you. Don't let them see they've got you down.
And she gives you a small smile and then tries to fix her hair even though there's nothing to fix it with, but tries to make herself look a little presentable. And slowly walks towards the guards.
Wow.
And she's never seen from again.
Okay. Why don't you pull a card? Let's see what happens.
All right. Oh, club.
Ooh. Misfortune for the resistance.
Let's see. Hmm. Uh, I think more of the bad luck. I managed to break out of the cell, but I wasn't the only one that happened to break out, and the other person was a lot louder and about it. So there was more guards like what's on alert, and I get recaptured. Because even though I did it right, the other person didn't. So I think I want the scene where like right before like right when I get captured, like they find me. I think I managed to um sneak out through like a delivery van, and just as it was like just before it was exiting, like they decided to search it because they had found another prisoner had attempted to escape.
Cool. Should we have somebody in there with you?
Yeah. Let's see. Like maybe it was me and my cell partner. So let's say it was Zoe.
Yeah, we haven't seen Zoe.
Yeah,
Cool.
the blonde. That's all we know. who helped to the gruff mark.
Yeah. Cool. David, would you mind playing Zoe?
Sure thing.
So I think so the delivery was so I think we're like hiding behind like big like wooden boxes because they do like maybe they do deliveries of like food stuffs like once a week. Um so that there's limited amount of like cars going in and out and everything. And it was pretty smooth the escape, however we escaped. And I was like, all right, we just have as soon as we get past the checkpoint, we should be golden.
It's taking them so long. Should we be stopped this long? It's
You're right. I mean, from what I've heard, it should have been quick. That's why I chose this delivery van amongst the other ones. Maybe I thought I heard noise coming from one of the other buildings. Did you?
I don't know. Maybe. I guess. Well, there's nothing for us to do but wait. I guess.
We'll get through this. Once we get out of this area, I have a few contacts still, and we haven't been prisoner for that long. I don't think. And I give like Zoe's hand like a reassuring squeeze.
And she'll sort of just nod and sort of swallow hard, sort of thing, as she sort of her eyes are sort of darting around.
And I think it stayed like we're there much longer before we start hearing like maybe soldiers like come up around like the sides of the van, like, and like that's not good. Shoot, what are they?
Should we try and make a run for it? Just maybe we can get back to inside before they find us.
No, if they're looking, that means something had to have happened. They might just shoot us on sight if we try to run right now.
Ouvrez le camion! Ouvrez le camion!
And Maddie swears in French and Spanish. And stay here. Maybe if they think it's just one person. If
Okay.
one of us can get out, if you can, I gave you the information, you can let them know.
Okay, I'll stay.
And scaredly, Maddie slowly crawls towards the to the back of the van, towards then where they would see her. And she would go in broken German, because I think by this point she knows a little bit of German, like don't shoot, I'm coming out.
Ah, Miss Marie, it is such a pleasure to have you once again joining us as our guest.
I just needed a bit of fresh air, is all.
Surely the English stiff upper lip. Take her back.
And I markedly do not look back at the truck. I do look around just to see how far did I get, kind of thing, because but yeah. But I don't resist after that, hoping maybe Zoe gets out.
Whew. Okay. So you should each have one card remaining in your hand, or each can draw one more card. You now choose what you want to do with that card. If you keep it for yourself, you'll be sent to a concentration camp. If that final card is a black card, you are executed there. If it is a red card, you survive until the end of the war, scarred physically and mentally, but a survivor. You can choose to donate your card to any other player, though. Normally, each person secretly decides whether they will retain their card or donate it. Once all donations have been finalized and players give the reasons for their donations they have made, those who have 2 or more cards in their hand of any suit escape or are rescued and find their way back to Britain. Those with no cards died straight away, perhaps giving their lives to arrange an escape, or executed mercilessly as a result of something which you did which helped someone else escape. So I think the thing to do here is to flip on Enable Hidden Draws, both of you, and draw that last card hidden. And then you can decide whether or not you can keep it or give it away. And I don't know, we can do like a 1, 2, 3.
Okay. So it looks like it's hidden
It
to
should be-
us, right?
It's hidden to the other person. It should be visible to you. Like
I
with a
see
border.
2 gray cards.
That's weird.
Maybe they fix it.
Maybe. Cool.
Mine's worked anyway. It's I can see, and it's got like the purple border around it.
Is yours the left one or the right one?
Mine's the one on the right.
Okay.
You can just draw another card if you like.
Yeah, let me try to see if maybe I did it wrong.
Yeah, you got to click on the Enable Hidden Draws box.
Yeah.
There.
And then just submit. Yeah, I get a gray box.
Huh. That's weird. Oh, well, I'll have to let Shane know that. Well,
But originally I was gonna donate my card to Denise, to be honest. But
oh yeah. So Denise is not here though. So
so I think I'm gonna keep whatever my card is.
okay. And Marie Louise, were you going to keep your card or donate it?
I was going to donate, so
Okay, so fantastic. I am just keen as all heck to know what your card was anyway, because
sure. Oops, I don't know what I did there, but it changed. Yeah, it's but it was a I think it was the 10 of diamonds. I clicked and it turned into the 8 of hearts, but it's still a red card. I don't know. Oh, here we go. Reveal selected.
So interesting.
Anyway,
Well, you're gonna die, and Marie is going to escape or be rescued, which is kind of.
So, I mean, maybe Zoe does escape and then manages a rescue attempt.
Yeah, I like that idea. And
Poor Mighty Louise.
yeah, they probably blame Marie Louise, and I guess she can join her husband as Mort pour la France.
yeah.
Cool. So I know it's very late for you, David, but if you wouldn't mind, we do have an epilogue, which is part of the game, and then if you wouldn't mind participating just a smidge in the debrief.
That's fine. Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, cool. So you should spend a little bit of time describing what happens next. For those who escaped or survived, what did they go on to do? For those who died, who remembered them and who honored them? And there are a lot of ways this happened. The SOE was pretty hush-hush for a long time, so many people did not even know that people had been in it, and if they never talked about it, then they didn't find out maybe until they were dead. Other people were known in their life. So, yeah. So, given that you survived, Marie.
Yeah. So I think Maddie would have stayed until the end of the war, as kind of like a bit of like survivor skills. Like, oh, I got rescuer's guilt first. I was like, but you know, other people died, um, and I think she did get close to everyone that she interacted with in the prison. If she hadn't gotten close to them before, like Marie Louise, I presume. Um, and She was very tempted to like embark revenge on the husband but that would have gotten her in more worse trouble. So I think once after the war ended, she went home to Mexico City, and she started to work for the embassy for Mexico City, and through there to be interpreter and everything, because by this point I think she had the knack for language and got to be decent enough in German for all the interactions she had to do. And she managed to become roommates with a very dear friend who was also part of the war, not like part of the SOE, maybe, but like some other like doing their part, maybe a nurse or something. And so something in common because they both had lost a lot of people, and yeah, enjoyed her time with that. And I think maybe she got a postcard once from Simone, and it was Simone enjoying another part of Mexico, but yeah, even though she never sees Simone again, she gets that postcard.
Oh, that's sweet. What about Marie Louise? Marie Louise. Does anyone remember her?
Yeah. So I think Guillaume does survive the war, and he manages to track down where Marie Louise and Etienne, her husband, have been buried, and he manages to sort of get them, exhumed and buried in a plot together.
Yeah. Cool.
That's very sweet.
Yeah. This was brutal. Jeez.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. I am a connoisseur of grim dark everybody dies games. I wrote one. But yeah, I kind of like this game.
Yeah, no, it's really really interesting.
Yeah, I think the structure helps it a lot, and the card mechanic kept us on our toes the whole time.
Yeah.
So I'm interested in what anything you might want to pitch in on that. And also, how is everybody feeling? Are you guys okay?
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
it was good. Yeah, it's. I think I certainly found it was quite intense, but I think there's just enough kind of abstraction to it that it's not as not as what's the word I'm looking for?
Overwhelming?
Yeah, that's a good word. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, generally I don't like to play, or at least I don't like to consume media where the ending is death and sorrow, because I have a lot of dark thoughts anyways, but at the same time I enjoy horror. Um and I like the fact that this is you're let known from the beginning, like your character's going to die. Like 99% chance that if the character's going to die, maybe 1% not. So going into it, I was like, okay, we can still enjoy this and have that, and it's like it's not a surprise. It's only a surprise that you get to live kind of thing, which is so yeah.
Yeah,
I was worried how I was going to feel about it, honestly, because I dealt with a family death recently. So
my condolences. Um, it's interesting that you brought up horror though, because I think that the whole thing about horror of being able to sort of experience your fear and let it go through. If I want to get all Aristotelian, I could talk about catharsis and stuff. But yeah, I think that element of this game worked for it too. I mean, it's not really a horror game, but there's a lot of really bad stuff. Now I'm just thinking about all the grimdark games I like Montsegur, and I mean they're all aiming. This game too is all aiming kind of like for tragedy, like in a very classic theatrical sense. Um, yeah, there's definitely some catharsis and purgation and stuff going on here. I like it. It's really neat. It doesn't, it doesn't require a lot of materials. You just get to go, and I think the full rules actually do a pretty decent job of giving you enough equipment to play the period reasonably well.
The other thing I think again like kind of ties into what so I do like as well that they just specifically call out in the rules, like when you're doing scenes, that you can just narrate what happens if you want to, rather than playing out minute to minute sort of thing, which I think is a good call, because I think there are probably some scenes where you do just want to be a bit more hands off with it and just say this happens and then that happens and that's it, sort of thing. So I think that's quite a good. I think it's quite good. He does specifically call that out.
Yeah, actually, that sort of editorial function is interesting because a lot of games like this that are very scene driven and self-starting tend to kind of preserve the unity of the scene, like it's like in a theatrical sense, but it's a tabletop game, so we can we could make drastic cuts if we wanted to, but it doesn't tend to get used that much. So calling that out like that is good. And I'm gonna think about that, because I know how to do good scenes. I've never quite figured out how to tell people how to do good.
Yeah.
I think it's just a matter of practice, like for people to figure out.
Yeah, I mean, I consumed a lot of media. I've somehow developed good reflexes for what makes a scene good, and like,
Yeah,
we
yeah.
cut, now we're done. But it's hard to actually articulate. I tried once to a friend of mine for her own jamming, and I realized, yeah, there's a lot more practice that gets involved in that. So cool. I want to thank everybody. This was a lot of fun. I enjoyed being your facilitator and pitching in with the occasional French communist.
Yes.
and
Your
and
accents
over
were
the,
fantastic.
thank you very much.
Yeah,
And
no, thank you. It was really good.
Yeah. So thank you all, and that's another Gauntlet Hangouts game. And this is Alex White's A Cool and Lonely Courage, and I don't know his schedule for when it's going to come out, but I know he plans to make it come out. So play it if you can. It's a good game. Take
I
care.
always enjoy playing with y'all.
Yep.
Yeah, cheers. Thanks very much.
Ciao, everyone.